Hey guys, Rick back down here at the layout. Got a box in the mail the other day and wanted to share it with you and show you what I got. There's two items in there that I wanted to share and show you all about them. First off, the box came from Jim Tedesco, and it's got two items in it. First was the prize that I got from his contest. It's the Snowboy freight car, which is actually pretty cool. It's in N scale, and I'm not sure if you guys have been following me. I'm an HO guy, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this. Right now it's just going to sit up on a shelf. Maybe I'll have a contest with it one day and regift it, or maybe, just maybe, I'll start an N scale layout. Who knows? The second thing was this little venture that Jim and I were on. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with, I've got an I have a DCC layout. It's controlled by NCE. And what I've chosen to do is my block detection system uses the NCE BD20s. That's this little device here. And the way this works, and I'll take you under the layout and actually show it to you in action. There's a little wire connector here. And what you do is there's a ground pin here on the end, and then the next pin over is called a logic pin, and you take two wires from there and they both go to NCE also makes another product called an AIU01. It's an auxiliary input unit, which you can program that through JMRI to do different things like turning signals, throwing turnouts, all kinds of things. So for mine, I'm simply going to be using them for block detection for JMRI, so I know when particular cars are in which block. So that tells you how it communicates. Here's how it works. What you do is you isolate your track, one leg of your track, and you take the feeder wire off of that track, and you bring it down here and you slide it through that hole. And you wrap it around 2 or 3 times, and then it goes back to your track bus. And what happens is this little device actually detects the amperage that goes through that wire, and that's what it's looking for. And once it sees enough amperage to trigger it, that's when it lights up and it does what it's supposed to do. So this just kind of sits underneath your layout. It's a real small device, nice and handy, nice and cheap. The only problem is, if you take a look closely at it, there's no way to mount this little guy anywhere. Now, it does have a flat surface in the back, and you could use double-faced tape and just kind of stick it up there. But unfortunately, the double-faced tape doesn't last forever. So I got in touch with James Tedesco, who does a lot of 3D printing, and we came up with a concept of making a small little holder for these things. And this is what Jim came up with. It's a little simple, like U-bracket, and there's a little groove in there that Jim was able to get the specifications for, because I actually shipped him one of these so that he could work with it directly and get everything fine-tuned. And this thing actually just slides in between those two grooves. Jim also put in a hole on the back so that you could actually screw that into your framework, and then this guy just slides right on in, and you can mount that underneath your layout, and you have your wire going through it and your 2 logic cables going in, and you never have to worry about it falling. It's in a nice safe place, and there's just enough clearance underneath of it so that that screw doesn't touch any of the electronics on the board. So what I'm going to do is I've got one of these already mounted underneath on my layout. I'm going to stop the camera here and show you how it's all configured, and then we'll stop back. Alright guys, so here we are underneath my layout, and you can see I've got the BD20 sitting there in its little holder, just attached to the framework. You can see the blue wire there is looped around a couple times going through that hole, And again, that goes up to one leg of the track and then goes back there through the framework onto one of the bus lines. The other two lines there, there's orange and white lines. One's going to the ground and to the logic pin, and then they go off back to my AIU 01. If you guys are interested in that, there's a couple videos out there for it, or I can show you how I use mine. Just let me know in the comments below, and I can make that video also. Yeah, that's how it works. I'm pretty pleased with it, and I'm glad James was able to get that up and running for me. So, got a bunch of these more to put in. We'll see how it goes. Guys, so now you've seen how these things are mounted and how they're used. If you're interested in them, or if you use these little guys, get in touch with James Tedesco and see if maybe that's something that you could use, something that could be available for you. I'm also curious if you do use these, or I'm sorry, you use the BD20s. I'm curious to see how you have them mounted and how you've been using them. So put that in the comments below and let me know, because I'm curious, because I've been all around the internet looking for something like this, and if it wasn't for James, I would have been stuck. So that's all I got for you for now. I hope you guys enjoy the little tip. And again, thank you, James, for the little clips and for the car. That's awesome. As always, rail riders, let's ride these rails together. See you.